Welcome back to Let's Make a Game, a channel about making computer role-playing games using the free program Twine and the Sugarcube format for Twine. In this video, I would like to continue talking about my current project of coding the combat system for a user's game. So we have the initiative roll here, or the results of the initiative roll here, and as you can see, enemy 1 has won the initiative, and then enemy 2 has come second, and then everyone on sort of our side is moving after them. So in the last video, I had created the code to have whoever's going first, if they're an enemy, they either attack one of the player character's party if they're near enough, or if not, they move towards them. But after they did that, the program ended, and of course that's not what we need. Firstly, every character has 2 actions in the round, and secondly, once one character has gone, we need the next character in order to go, or if everyone is gone, we need to, if the combat is still happening, we need to roll initiative again. So I've set up some code that allows some of that to happen. So if it works, what should happen once I press this continue button is that enemy 1 should move twice. So they'll see if there's anyone in range. There won't be. They'll move. They'll look and see if there's anyone in range. There won't be. They'll move again. And then enemy 2 should do exactly the same. And then the program should end, because it will then be Companion 1's turn, and we haven't programmed how companions act. So let's have a look and see if that works. So enemy 1 moves, and when we print the distances out here, we can see that enemy 1 is now down here where they should be. And then enemy 2 moves, and you can see that when we're printing the distance here, it's only printing from distance 3 because there's no one at distance 5 or distance 4, which is what should be happening. It should only print the range of distances that somebody is in. Although in the final game, it won't be doing this at all because there's a visual display that will be showing this instead. And now when I press continue, I should just get a blank screen because it should be one of the companions' go. And indeed, we do get a blank screen. So that is working. So let's have a look at the code. So we have one new page or passage, this next action down here. And we have sort of several, you can see several new arrows, allowing the code to sort of loop rather than run once, which of course is what we need, because it's going to be going round and round for multiple combat rounds until the combat ends. We do have a new variable, a single new variable, and that variable is actions, ACTIONS. And I can't remember where maybe I haven't made a note of it in this. Oh yes, no, here we go. Sorry, I thought I had, yeah. There's a little note here that says actions, how many actions the current character has left. That's always going to be 2 or 1. All right, so we've slightly changed some of this code. First of all, I had to move the setting up INI underscore slot to 1. That's now in the print results page rather than the print distances page where it was before. And the reason for that is because we're going back to print distances, and we don't want to reset that slot to 1 each time, because then only the first character would get to move again and again, which is not what we want. But other than that, it's all the same, except that the enemy moves page, at the end of all of that, which we talked about in the last video, we now have this include. We include next action. And of course, once we code enemy strikes, that will also move to next action, and all of these will eventually move to next action as well. Next action is the page where we decide what's happening next once a character has had a single action. We decide whether they get their next action or whether it's the next person's go or what. So what we do is we set actions minus minus, we decrease it by 1. If it's greater than 0, and it'll always be 1 if it's greater than 0, because it starts at 2, and then when you minus 1, of course it'll be 1, or it'll be 1 to go to 0. So the only way it can be over 0 is if it equals 1, but just in case the user wants to add some monsters that have more than 2 actions or something like that, a sort of super fast monster or something like that, I've said greater than 0 rather than is equal to 1. That's an example of sort of future proofing, of like making it a bit easier to expand in the future if they do want to do that. If actions is over 0, then we simply include actions, i.e. we go up to here. If not, if actions does equal 0, then we set ini underscore slot plus plus. In other words, if we were looking at slot 1 in that ini array, now we're going to look at slot 2. If we were looking at slot 2, we're going to look at slot 3, and so on. But of course, we might have looked at everyone, so that's what we're going to check next. We say if ini underscore slot is greater than y2, and if you've been following this series, you'll remember that y2 is the total number of characters involved in the combat at the start of the combat. I say at the start of the combat because characters will die in the course of the combat, so there'll be less and less of them, of course. But, or usually, I mean, of course, combat might end with someone running away or something, but generally there'll be fewer and fewer characters. So if ini underscore slot is greater than y2, meaning we've looked at everyone and we're now up to a slot that doesn't have any relevant data in it, then we go to roll initiative, which is all the way up here. So everyone re-rolls. And if that's not the case, if we've still got characters to go in this round, then we go to print distances up here. And so that allows us to loop around. It doesn't take account of the possibility that the combat will end, or of course the inevitability that it will end eventually. At the moment, we're just sort of looping around. We need to, of course, add the capacity to get out of that loop, and that's something we'll deal with when we deal with attacking, and also, of course, when we deal with running away or fleeing. But for now, I hope that was useful or interesting to at least some of you, and I hope you will tune in next time.